My brother, who is 36 years old, filed for divorce from his wife of 3 years just 2 months ago after he discovered that she has been cheating on him. Before her secret came to light, my family and I planned a week vacation to Orlando, FL, in which we travel to late next month. 3 months ago, tickets were already paid for. My brother paid full price for his while pitching in for his ex-wife's ticket, who did contribute a little more than he did towards it. However, after he filed for divorce, he started dating his current girlfriend. They have been together for a month and a few weeks now. Last Sunday, my parents hosted a Sunday dinner at their home, and my brother's girlfriend was invited. We were talking about the trip, and when my sister, who is 28, suggested that my brother's ex get a room of her own since the two are no longer together, I noticed a look on his girlfriend's face. However, she said nothing and stayed quiet. After dinner, the girlfriend pulled me aside and said that she had no idea my brother's ex was still going on the trip. My response was a simple, "Yeah." She proceeded to tell me that she was not comfortable with the idea of the ex still being allowed to go on the trip. She then asked if it was okay that the ticket went to her instead, since she's now with my brother. I politely told her that I didn't think it would be right for me to give her my former sister-in-law's ticket, since she did contribute money towards the ticket. The girlfriend then asked me if I didn't think it would be disrespectful to her if I still allowed his ex-wife to go on the trip. I told her I'm sorry she feels that way, but that I still wasn't going to make his ex-wife give up her plane ticket. I also told her that she is more than welcome to purchase her own ticket and come with us if she wants to. That wasn't good enough for her, because she still doesn't want to see his ex-wife's face on the trip. The main reason why my brother's girlfriend is not cool with his ex still being around is because of their unfortunate encounter. According to my brother, a couple of weeks ago, his girlfriend was at his house at the time his former sister-in-law showed up to collect some more of her things. The sister-in-law ended up disrespecting his girlfriend and starting a heated argument with her. I don't condone the sister-in-law's behavior towards my brother's girlfriend, but I also don't see why she should be uninvited from the trip after she had already paid for her own ticket. Not to mention, as my sister said, the former sister-in-law can just get a separate room. So am I wrong? Now for an update. I spoke to my brother early this afternoon to see how he felt about his ex still being able to attend the trip. He basically said he didn't care as long as she stayed away from us and would not join us in anything we do on the trip, which I told him was already the plan. He also spoke to his ex about her paying for a different room, and she agreed. Unfortunately, his girlfriend still isn't okay with his ex coming on the trip and will not be joining us herself. Apparently, they finally got into an argument over his ex attending, and he told her that his ex is not obligated to give up a ticket she paid for, and that just because she was flying out with us doesn't mean she will be around us. This is what he told me. Like I said, what my brother and his ex decide to do is between them both, as I've decided not to have a say or insert myself into anything that doesn't really have anything to do with me. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. I don't understand why the girlfriend is coming to you with this issue. This is not your responsibility. These are not your problems. The girlfriend needs to talk to your older brother about it. Even if you fully agree with the girlfriend, you can't just give away someone else's paid-for property. That would be theft. I understand that it would be uncomfortable for the ex-sister-in-law to be there, but that is a conversation and negotiation that should happen between the boyfriend, girlfriend, and ex, and no one else. Comment 2. Not the idiot. And, are you sure it was the sister-in-law who cheated? 2 months, and your brother already has his next serious girlfriend? That was certainly fast. He likely had her already when the divorce proceedings began. And why would you decide this? The sister-in-law paid, so this is her ticket and her half of the room, unless she tells you otherwise. If your brother wants to bring the new girlfriend, he will have to get an additional ticket and an additional room. Now, for the update. 1 week after the family dinner, I got a call from my brother, and honestly, I was expecting some kind of drama. Like, he's never called me out of the blue like this, just to chat, so I knew something was up. He sounded a little off, saying that his girlfriend has been acting super distant since the family dinner. I mean, his girlfriend is usually a chill person, so this was kinda weird. He also confessed that he felt torn between his ex and his new girlfriend, which, yeah, I get it. He's still dealing with a lot of stuff, but it's not my problem, you know? I suggested that he talk it out with her, like an adult, but these two have only been dating for a month and a half, so maybe they need a little more practice. He agreed and mentioned wanting to host a family barbecue that weekend to try to clear things up. Honestly, this was the first time he'd suggested doing something as a family, so I thought it was a solid plan. We spent a bit of time planning the barbecue, like figuring out what food to make and sending out invites to the family. Surprisingly, his girlfriend said she'd come too, even though she wasn't super excited about it. She said she wanted to support him, which was nice, but it kind of felt like she was doing it under pressure. The day of the barbecue came, and it was super awkward. My brother and I were prepping everything, and it was just, I don't know, uncomfortable. The whole family was in the backyard, cooking burgers and hot dogs and trying to act like everything was normal. His girlfriend showed up late, and you could tell everyone was trying to be casual, but it wasn't really working. My brother tried to get her to chat with him, but she was pretty much giving one-word answers. I felt bad for him. Then, out of nowhere, my brother's ex-wife showed up, which was a total surprise because my parents had invited her without telling him. His face was like, "Wait, what?" The girlfriend's face turned red, and she just bolted to the patio to cool off. My brother was confused and then mad at our parents for inviting his ex-wife without saying anything. I had to jump in and play peacemaker because it was getting kinda heated. The girlfriend overheard the argument and just barged into the house, slamming the door behind her. I followed her inside and asked if she was okay, but she just went off on me, saying I was on the ex-wife's side. My brother heard us and came in, wanting to know what was happening. It was like a scene from a soap opera. The girlfriend started saying how she felt like an outsider and that she didn't want to be around the ex-wife. My brother tried to explain his side, but she cut him off, saying he didn't care about her feelings. I suggested they all sit down and talk it out, but the girlfriend said she'd only do it if the ex-wife left. My brother was like, "No way." And that's when the argument really kicked off. The girlfriend said she was leaving the barbecue and just stormed out, grabbing her purse. My brother was left frustrated, and the ex-wife looked super uncomfortable. I tried to lighten the mood with a joke about the burnt burgers, but it didn't really land. We all tried to salvage the barbecue, but honestly, it felt pretty awkward and tense after all that. The next day, my brother called me again. He was worried about his girlfriend and asked if I thought she was okay. I told him that she seemed fine to me, but suggested he reach out to her. He was hesitant, which, honestly, I get. This whole situation is messy, and he's still trying to handle his own stuff. The girlfriend eventually texted him, saying she needed some space. He felt conflicted and called me again, asking for advice on what to do next. I told him to give her some time and let her reach out when she's ready. Then, out of nowhere, his girlfriend showed up at his place, wanting to talk. He called me while she was there, and I could hear them talking through the phone, which was kinda awkward. He tried explaining the whole situation with the ex-wife again, but she accused him of still being emotionally attached to her. I was just sitting there, listening to their argument through the door, unable to jump in, and it was ending the life of me. After a long discussion, she stormed out and left him feeling pretty upset. The next few days felt like a blur. A few days later, I found out his girlfriend had been posting these cryptic messages on social media. Like super vague stuff that made it seem like they were having issues. Which they were, but still. My brother saw them too and was really frustrated about her posting all this stuff publicly. He already felt bad about the whole situation, and seeing her post about it just made him feel worse. Things are still complicated, and honestly, I have no idea how my brother's gonna handle the girlfriend's social media posts and everything else that's been going on. I mean, there's just so much drama, and it's not like this is all gonna blow over in a day. So yeah, if anything big happens, I'll make sure to post an update. Edit. The girlfriend's social media posts started a lot of conversations and comments, which my brother found really upsetting. His family and friends weighed in, giving their opinions on the situation. This made him feel even more conflicted. He wasn't sure if the girlfriend was looking for support or trying to make his ex-wife look bad. Despite the drama, my brother and his girlfriend talked things out and decided to take a break from their relationship to focus on themselves. Am I the idiot for pulling my daughter out of camp because her counselor called an octopus a fish and got mad when she corrected him? Am I the idiot for pulling my daughter out of camp after a counselor called an octopus a fish and couldn't handle being corrected? I, 35-year-old male, have a daughter, 7-year-old female, who has recently been attending an animal-themed summer camp during the day. She's obsessed with animals, so honestly, it seemed like a great fit. I usually drop her off in the morning and pick her up in the afternoon, so I am familiar with her camp counselor group leader. The group leader, 30-year-old male, seemed like a chill guy, and my kid seems to like him, though today when I picked her up, he asked if he could pull us aside to chat. When I asked what this was about, he said that my daughter was very disrespectful to him today, and that he couldn't have her attitude again. When I asked him what happened, he said that they were discussing sea creatures today, and he referred to octopus as a fish, which my daughter corrected him as they are mollusks. He tried to tell her that she was wrong, but she politely corrected him again, his own words. I told him that if she just corrected him politely, then I didn't really understand the problem, but I would speak to her. He then explained that octopus were fish and that my daughter shouldn't be spreading information she doesn't understand. I told him that my daughter was correct. Octopus are mollusks. Even pulled up a bunch of links from Google to show him. His response was to get angry and tell me that he sees where my daughter gets the attitude from, and that she was wrong for correcting him, and that I was wrong for backing her up and usurping his authority. I explained that correcting someone isn't usurping authority. Being corrected is sometimes just a learning experience, one that I've experienced often, and that I wasn't going to reprimand my daughter for trying to politely correct him. He told me that I didn't understand how difficult his job was, and that sometimes he just needed a parent's support, regardless of their beliefs, and stormed off. My daughter asked if she was in trouble, and I said no, of course, but I am questioning whether I should send her back to this camp, given the behavior of her counselor. That being said, I wondered if I should have just told my daughter that sometimes it's best to let things go, even if people are wrong. Thank you all for the responses. I did not send my daughter to camp today and have reached out to the head counselor to ask for a meeting. We'll update after our discussion. Now for an update. I have an update. Just waiting for this to fall off the main page to give said update. Thank you all for the kind words and encouragement. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. 1,000 times. Not the idiot. When I was in 4th grade, we studied Native Americans. Our teacher taught us about the Sioux, pronounced Sioux, except she pronounced it Sioux. My mother taught me the correct pronunciation, but advised me not to correct the teacher. I disagree, of course. If she did not want the teacher to be publicly humiliated, then perhaps she should have taken the teacher aside and quietly corrected her. Anyway, one day, several of my classmates corrected the teacher's pronunciation. The teacher flushed and said, "Well, maybe it is pronounced Sioux, but I know there is a Sioux Indian. Good grief." I learned something that day, how not to react when you're shown to be wrong. She and this clueless counselor should have said, "I guess we all learned something today. Thank you." The only thing worse than being wrong is being obstinately wrong. Good on you, Mom, and congratulations for having such a smart daughter. Comment 2. Not the idiot, and please, keep having your daughter's back and maybe talk to the counselor's boss. Girls at any age are so often told to be quiet. They have no idea what they are talking about, are having an attitude, and get their spirits crushed. I remember it clear as the day how often I was told to stop talking about animal stuff and facts because I already loved to read as a kid. I stopped talking about it at some point and became silent about my passions. And even now, At 37, it's sometimes hard to share my passions. Put the counselor in his place and get your daughter an octopus t-shirt. Now, for the update. A few days after I met with the head counselor, I got an email confirming our meeting time. She was worried about the situation and suggested we talk about it in person. I was feeling a bit stressed over the whole thing, but just wanted to get this addressed so my daughter could get back to enjoying her summer. I showed up at the camp and was greeted by the head counselor, a woman in her 40s, who led me to her office. She was nice and seemed genuinely concerned, and I could tell she was trying to keep things professional despite the awkwardness. Once we sat down, she started by acknowledging the counselor's behavior, which was a relief. She explained that he had been struggling with his duties lately, which may have led to the outburst. I shared what happened and emphasized the importance of learning, especially in a setting like summer camp, where kids are supposed to be exploring new things. She agreed that learning should be encouraged and that correcting someone in the right way is part of that. But then she explained the counselor's perspective on authority. After our talk, she promised to follow up with him and keep me updated. I left her office hoping this might just be a one-time thing and that my daughter could go back to having fun with her friends at camp. The next day, though, I decided to take my daughter to a local petting zoo instead of camp. I thought it would be a good way to spend some time with her, and she was excited to see all the animals. We had a blast at the petting zoo. My daughter's face just lit up every time she got to interact with the animals. She loved the goats. They were so funny and friendly. It was nice to see her so happy after the stressful week we had. A few days later, I got a call from the head counselor. She told me that the counselor was being given a break for his behavior and that they were starting new training for all staff to handle learning moments better. Over the weekend, we had a birthday party for my dad at my parents' house. It was a bit awkward at first because they knew something was going on with me and my daughter, but they didn't have all the details. My younger sister Kate brought her new boyfriend to the party, and he works at a local aquarium. During dinner, he talked about marine biology and his passion for teaching kids about ocean life. My daughter, excited as ever, chimed in about her recent sea creature lessons from camp. He was interested in correcting misinformation, which sparked a lively conversation at the table. Of course, the counselor's behavior came up, and there was this really awkward moment when my family started debating the whole authority versus learning thing. Kate's boyfriend pointed out how important it was to foster curiosity in children, which resonated with me. Later that evening, I spoke to my parents privately about the situation with the counselor. My dad suggested that I might be overreacting and that kids need to respect authority figures. He didn't know the whole story, though, so I could see why he felt that way. The family continued to discuss education and authority, and let me tell you, opinions were clashing. It was one of those family dinners where you end up with a headache from all the talking. I think my daughter overheard the debate because she seemed confused by the differing views later on. She was quiet and asked me why people were arguing about what she should do if someone was wrong. It broke my heart a little, to be honest. The next week, I found a local science club that focused on hands-on learning and promoting curiosity. So I signed my daughter up without hesitation. I was just so excited for her to have a new beginning. The head counselor called me to check in about the decision, and she mentioned that the counselor hadn't returned to camp yet, but was undergoing training. My gut told me that this guy might not have the right temperament for working with kids, but I was just trying to give the camp another shot for my daughter's sake. The following weekend, my daughter and I went to the first science club meeting together. The atmosphere was welcoming, and the activities were interactive, with a focus on exploration. I could already tell this was a much better fit for her. But then, as the meeting went on, I overheard another child correcting the facilitator about a fact. The facilitator responded with frustration, and honestly, I felt a wave of that old familiar tension again. I just sat there for a moment, feeling like I was back where we started. I watched as the child who corrected the facilitator shrunk a little under the irritation, and I felt for that kid. I really did. Edit. After that meeting, I spoke with the head counselor about my discomfort. She assured me that not all staff members would react the same way and that facilitators were encouraged to promote learning. I decided to give the science club another chance, hoping for a better experience, and my daughter was excited too. Am I the idiot for refusing to be my twin-obsessed sister's maid of honor after years of being treated like an outsider? Am I the idiot for refusing to be my sister's maid of honor after a lifetime of being treated like an outsider? I, 30-year-old female, come from a family of twins. My mom, 59-year-old female, was a twin. My dad's 58-year-old male father was a twin, and I have 4 siblings who are twins to each other. The first pair were my brothers Alan, 35-year-old male, and Adam, and the second pair were my sisters Bella, 32-year-old female, and Julia. When I was born, it was just me, and the disappointment in that was made known throughout my entire childhood. My mom prided herself on being a twin mom, and I didn't fit the aesthetic, so she didn't put that much effort into me. My siblings were constantly off doing twin things, and I was almost never included. Whenever my dad would try to get my siblings to include me, my brothers were quick to say that they were against it, while my sisters would reluctantly let me come, but made it obvious that I wasn't wanted and had such a terrible time that I wouldn't want to come. My dad had to work a lot, so my mom was mostly in control and would almost always let her twin children get their way. I was hurt so many times growing up, but by the time I was in middle school, I gave up and developed really good friendships to fill the void. Fast forward to high school, and my siblings really wanted to do an overseas trip on my parents' dime, but my father refused until Bella and Julia suggested that it would be a good way for me to finally bond with them, as they were going to go to a country I was interested in. My dad agreed, under the condition that I go too, and that's when they started buttering me up and showering me with attention. It took a couple of months, but I was finally convinced that my siblings loved me, so when they mentioned the trip, I agreed. However, when we got there, they went back to their old ways and started ignoring me, and all the fun activities that were scheduled were only for 2 or 4 people due to a mistake with the booking. As the non-twin, I was the odd one out and didn't get to do anything. But since it was too late to get a refund for anything, and the return ticket had already been purchased, my parents told me to just make the best of the situation. My dad was the only one who tried to make it up to me, but I was done with my siblings after that. Fast forward to last year, and my siblings were in a bad car accident. Adam and Julia didn't make it, but I didn't feel sad about it, just in shock. Julia was supposed to be Bella's maid of honor, and she recently asked me to be her maid of honor, but I quietly refused. At first, I said that I wouldn't be able to give Bella the time she needed, but her other bridesmaids said that they could pick up the slack. Bella, Alan, my mom, and a few relatives said that it would mean a lot if I could do it. And eventually, I just snapped and said that I knew full well Bella has never liked me and that I don't care about fostering a relationship with her now that the sister she wanted is gone. Bella and Alan were triggered by my words and were very upset with me, while my mom won't stop berating me. Am I the jerk? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Being the second choice or never being picked is a bad feeling. If your sister wants to foster a relationship with you, a wedding isn't the way. She should make time when things aren't about her to build a relationship. Good that you chose yourself and your peace of mind. Comment 2. Not the idiot. Your siblings can't treat you like crap your whole life and then try to have a relationship only because they lost their other siblings. They made their bed when you were a child, and now they can lie in it. Now for the update. It's been a week since the family fallout over the wedding, and things have gotten more tense. I know, super fun, right? Bella sent a group text with a pic of her wedding dress, tagging me and the family. Like, I need to see that. I didn't respond because I felt it would only make things worse. And let's be honest, more drama is the last thing I need. Alan texted me directly, asking if I was going to the wedding or if I was going to keep being difficult. I ignored him. Honestly, I was just done with all of it. Their mom called me several times, insisting we needed to talk and that I was ruining the family. Yeah, like that's a new thing. I avoided the calls and focused on my work instead. A few days later, Bella posted a countdown to the wedding on social media, which felt like a jab. Like, seriously, this is supposed to be a happy time for you, and you're taking shots at me? Alan called me again, demanding to know if I was really going to skip the wedding. I finally decided to respond and told him I wouldn't attend a celebration that didn't include me. Can you believe that? The family group chat blew up, with messages flying back and forth about loyalty and respect. Bella accused me of being selfish and not caring about family traditions. My phone was buzzing with notifications every few minutes, but I didn't check them. I honestly couldn't be bothered. The day before the wedding, Bella called their mom in tears, claiming I was ruining her special day. Their mom called me, saying I was being unreasonable and should at least show up for Bella. I lost it when I overheard my mom talking to a family friend about how I was causing problems. Like, really? You're talking about me behind my back? Out of sheer annoyance, I decided to go to a nearby bakery to distract myself. While there, I bumped into an old family friend who asked about the wedding. I told her I wasn't going, which led to a long talk about family dynamics. The friend mentioned how families can be complicated and sometimes harmful, which really hit home for me. That evening, I got a message from Bella announcing the wedding was being moved to a larger venue due to more guests. I felt a bit guilty for not being included in the planning, but I quickly dismissed it. Later that night, I finally checked my phone. The group chat had escalated to accusations about my character. Like, what even? Alan suggested that I was jealous of the twins and their close bond, which made me so mad. The next day, I got a message from a relative saying they couldn't believe I was missing my sister's wedding. Yeah, well, I couldn't believe it either. I decided to go to the wedding venue to see if I could talk to Bella privately. When I got there, I overheard Bella and Alan discussing how they planned to handle my absence. They were discussing how to spin my absence to make me look bad in front of the extended family. My heart dropped. They weren't just upset, they were actively plotting against me. I left the venue feeling overwhelmed and unsure about how to deal with the situation. On the day of the wedding, I got a text from their mom saying she was disappointed in my choice. Thanks, Mom. Really appreciate it. I saw photos of the wedding online where Bella looked radiant, surrounded by family. In the middle of all that, I got a message from a cousin asking if I was okay and why I was absent. The cousin mentioned that Bella had a great time and had danced with everyone. After the wedding, Bella posted a heartfelt thank you to everyone who attended, with a special mention of her twin. That one hurt a lot. I just felt so angry and hurt. Why does she get a family that loves her and includes her, but I don't? Why is it my job to fix the family rift? Why do I always have to be the bigger person? Edit. The fallout has continued to affect my everyday life. My coworkers have noticed that I've been more withdrawn and less social lately. I used to be the one organizing team lunches, but now I just prefer to eat alone at my desk. It's not that I don't want to engage, I just haven't had the energy for it. My parents have been trying to talk to me about the situation, but I only give them short answers. I can tell they want me to reach out to my siblings, but I'm not ready to do that yet. I've been thinking about seeking professional help to sort through my feelings, but I haven't made that decision. For now, I'm just going to focus on work and my own well-being. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.